So, reheated leftovers, reheated freezer meals, gross? No. Amazing. We're gonna talk about how to get your freezer meal game on point. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome if you are new. My name's Nicole and I recently did a freezer meal video where we made together over 60 plus servings of freezer meals with a ton of breakfast options. We did sandwiches, we did dinners, cookies, all the things. And what I noticed about a lot of freezer meal videos is that they don't really show you how to actually reheat that food properly, or how that food even turns out after if it hasn't been cooked, after it's fully cooked. How does that food even turn out? I feel like you never know. A lot of freezer meals don't show you that process. So today, I'm sort of doing like a part 2 to my freezer meal video. If you haven't watched that one, I'll go ahead and link it down below so that you can get kind of caught up to speed. My family and I have already been through quite a few of those meals now today as I'm recording this. So I'm gonna go back to these meals and I'm gonna show you what we did to reheat them as if they're freshly made in your kitchen that same day, but you weren't working hard for hours in that kitchen. So let's just get into it. Let's just start. We're gonna go ahead and start off with our breakfast burritos. These breakfast burritos had the eggs and sausage, crispy potatoes that I fried up, plus some cheddar cheese that was shredded. Now, once these were frozen, I went ahead and thawed them the day before that I knew that I wanted to have them for breakfast in the morning. I thawed them, left them in the fridge overnight. Here I just unwrapped the package off. I stuck it in the microwave for about 45 seconds, and that's really just to heat the inside. So I did a little bit of spray oil here, and I'm going to pan sear each side. And I start with the side that has the seam. That way it helps to seal that burrito better. So once your burrito is crispy on each side, go ahead and take it off. I did a little split down the middle here so that you can see the inside a bit. And I paired it with some fresh green salsa that we had at home. So simple, so easy to heat up. Literally took 5 minutes. Next, we're gonna talk about that country sausage gravy that I made. So if you remember, this was homemade gravy. We used the Jimmy Dean breakfast sausage, added the milk and our seasonings, froze them. I did the same thing with this. I thawed it overnight in the fridge. By the next morning, it was fully thawed, ready to go. And for this morning, we decided to make it a big breakfast because we're having a little bit of a celebration. I shredded a couple potatoes to make these into homemade hash browns. I put my thawed gravy package on the stove with some whole milk. I only did a splash, so maybe 1/4 of a cup. And that's just because you want to get it back to a nice creamy gravy consistency. And then I just had that on the stove over a medium-low heat to warm up and stir. While that gravy is working, I'm working on the other components of that meal. So if you see, I have my hash browns getting browned, ready to flip. I have my eggs going. We eat them over medium. The gravy was nice and piping hot. And I went ahead and threw in a couple of frozen Pillsbury Grands biscuits. And then once those were hot in the oven, I had those biscuits working the entire time for this breakfast. And I served this is actually my husband's plate. I served this with a side of fresh strawberries and a little bit of whipped cream on top. But you would have never have known that I did not make that gravy, that sausage gravy, fresh that morning. You would have never known. It was so good. And biscuits and gravy is my husband's favorite breakfast. So he gets so excited whenever I make it. Now, next for our grilled ham and cheese sandwiches. Remember, these sandwiches were not grilled before freezing. They're just prepared ahead of time, assembled before freezing. These are thawed the morning before. I took it out of the package here. You can see there's no freezer burn on these sandwiches or anything. They were fine in the freezer. I got my pan nice and hot, spread a little butter on it. I went ahead and buttered the other side while it was working. My grilled cheese sandwich came out super crispy, very melty cheesy, I'm showing you here. And this was just a quick lunch that I made, served it with a side of chips. Could not be easier, so simple. Now on this day, we decided to have those frozen chicken enchiladas that I had prepared weeks ago. If you remember, these were burrito-sized tortillas. I rolled them up with my chicken mixture and froze them in trays. So again, had them thawing overnight in the fridge. I stuck them in the oven with just that first layer of foil. And I'm just showing you here that they are thawed. I stuck them in the oven just at 350 degrees for 20 minutes. So while these were working in the oven, I went ahead and started on my sides for that dinner. I just did these super simple. I opened up a can of these refried beans to heat up on the stove. The 20 minutes is up, so I went in here in the oven and unwrapped the foil, or took off the foil, so that I can cook it another 10 to 15 minutes to get that cheese a little bubbly on top. Stuck it back in the oven while I was working on my sides. I decided to do a cilantro lime rice. My cilantro lime rice is not like a typical one that you would see at Chipotle. I add a bit more flavor to mine. I start with sauteing the onions and garlic. I really like to use day-old rice. This is a great way to use your leftover rice. White rice is so great at absorbing other flavors. Threw my rice into the pan to start toasting it up. I also add in some chicken bouillon to give it some flavor. I go ahead and squirt in my lime, and then I had a bunch of cilantro chopped up. I threw that in the pan. My enchiladas are ready. The cheese got nice and golden, and I went ahead and served this with my cilantro lime garlic rice. Refried beans that I heated up. I also added some shredded lettuce here with a side of fresh green salsa and some sour cream. This dinner was so good. Again, you would not have known that those enchiladas were made weeks ago and were pulled out of the freezer the night before. Next, on another day, we decided to have the broccoli cheddar soup for dinner because it was such a cold and rainy day, and soup was just a perfect dish for this day. So I didn't even thaw this the day before. I actually thawed it that morning. So if you remember, when we made up this broccoli cheddar soup, we added our broccoli here, we added our grated carrots, and unfortunately it isn't a traditional broccoli cheddar soup because I didn't have cheddar cheese. I went ahead and used Colby Jack cheese, so it's technically a broccoli Colby Jack soup. When I threw it in the pot when it was time for dinner to reheat, it's still a little bit frozen. Put it on medium low and I let it work. I saw in the pantry that we had this box of Red Lobster biscuits. I had just pulled them here out of the oven, and it comes with a little garlic package mixture that you just add some melted butter to, and you can see here I'm just brushing it onto each biscuit. Finally, here we are checking on my soup. You see that the consistency is good. I added my soup to a bowl, and I also topped it with some chopped crispy bacon. Added a really simple green side salad to this plate and that Red Lobster biscuit. And this soup and salad dinner was so easy. And I love soup and salad. On another night, we decided to defrost the meatballs and spaghetti sauce. It was, again, defrosting in my fridge all night long, all day of the day I made it. If you remember, these were homemade meatballs. Rolled all of the balls myself, hand seared those balls, and then let them finish cooking in that homemade sauce from the Cento tomatoes. They came out so tender. So again, here's the defrosted bag. Really easy to pour into the pan to get ready to reheat. You can see the meatballs in here. So what I did was I left it on low, again, low to medium low, covered it with the lid until it started bubbling a bit. So while the sauce was reheating, I was working on my pasta noodles. As I went ahead and added about 1/4 cup of my pasta water. You must do this. I highly recommend you do this because it's gonna really help the consistency of your sauce during the reheat. Plus, adding pasta water to your sauce just helps to get your noodles to stick to that sauce. I went ahead and again did a super simple salad with this spaghetti and meatballs, and then I had a wedge of some Parmesan cheese, freshly grated that over the plate. So easy, again, so simple. And on the reheat, those meatballs were so tender. So on this night, after we had all of those packs of marinated chicken, we decided to pull one out for the next day for dinner. So we had about 4 different marinades from that day, that video. And if you remember, all we did was take some boneless skinless chicken thighs, put them in a vacuum sealed bag. With the marinade, we used some Aloha teriyaki Hawaiian marinade, froze it flat, and then by the time it was dinner time, all I did was I went ahead and pan seared this chicken to cook it. And as you can see here, it has such a great color. I got some good crispiness on the chicken. While those were going, I went ahead and worked on a simple veggie stir fry to go alongside of it. It had broccoli, carrots, onions, cabbage, and I threw in some green onions at the end just to finish off. Did a simple stir fry on those veggies, and I served this plate with a side of white rice, and I chopped up the chicken here. You can see it was so convenient to have that marinade already added to the chicken and able to work the whole time that chicken was defrosting. So don't sleep on those marinated chickens, those marinated meats, because they are so convenient when you want just an easy meal. All right, so those are all of the freezer meals that we have reheated so far or have eaten through. Every one of them was so good. I hope you enjoyed seeing how you can leverage freezer cooking on regular dinner nights, regular breakfasts, regular mornings, to use as easy meals that are homemade, home cooked by you. You know exactly what's in them because you made these meals. If you want to hang out with me some more, go ahead and check out some of the ones on the screen here, and see you on the next one. Bye.